Part 124. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1233. The Supreme Dragon Clan's God Kings have gradually entered the ancient black fire with the help of the spherical shield. Without the shield, it is said that the ancient black fire can directly burn the soul. If you are not at the level of the heavenly God soul, you can't hold it for a breath. Even if you are a heavenly God soul, if you have not really reached the heavenly God realm, you will probably die in an instant. Even the real heavenly gods dare not go in casually. Even if they can go in, they will definitely consume a lot of energy, and they will probably be disabled if they don't die. And there is no point in going to the ancient realm of Qingyang ancient god. Generally speaking, the ancient realm will only be opened once every 30,000 to 40,000 years. Even those who have become heavenly gods now have almost no impression of the ancient realm. This mysterious place is constantly changing, and there is no idea what will greet Zhang Ziyai and the others in front. Zhang Zizai and the Dragon God King also headed towards the Black Sunday. It should be because of the spherical shield that he did not feel the burning of the ancient black fire on his soul. Even until he plunged into the vast sea of fire, he did not feel it at all. See you again if we are destined to. The Dragon God King only said one sentence and let the rolling sea of fire sweep away. Although the sea of fire would not burn them, the raging fire could sweep them all over the place and make them drift with the current. It was obvious that they did not want them to gather together when they entered the ancient realm. It is said that every time in the ancient realm, it is different, but the same thing is that every time you enter, everyone is scattered very far, and it can be said that they are evenly distributed throughout the ancient realm. At this time, Zhang Zizai only had a black world in front of him. It was a burning flame. He was sinking all the time, and the speed was very fast, but he sank in the sea of fire for half a day before he finally got out of it. If there is no spherical shield, even the gods, I guess few can get in by themselves. It seems that the mystery and sublimity of this ancient realm are beyond Zhang Zizai's imagination. An existence that is above the 49 divine realms is indeed amazing. Since coming down from the ancient black fire, there has been black smoke all around, which obscures all vision. The surroundings are still dim, and then as he continues to go down, the smoke begins to become thinner, and he can gradually see the surrounding things clearly. But Zhang Zizai felt that the spherical shield on his body began to disappear. The thick smoke here is also related to the ancient black fire, so when the spherical shield is about to disappear, Zhang Zizai clearly feels the burning from the soul, although it is only a slight sting, but if it lasts for a long time, it will be unbearable. So at the moment when the spherical shield disappeared, he felt the burning of the soul of the gods by the thick smoke, and fell directly down until he was completely out of the range of the thick smoke and reached the ancient realm, and the burning feeling disappeared. Zhang Zizai couldn't wait to look at the entire ancient realm. At first glance, it felt very ordinary. All the wonders he imagined did not appear. It seemed that there was a very ordinary land under his feet. Looking around, there were mountains, trees, rivers, lakes, and oceans, high mountains and abysses, vast grasslands and forests, and there seemed to be deserts in the distance. The only difference from the ordinary world is that the sky of this world is black smoke, and above is the ancient black fire of the ancient realm. The blackness of the sky always emphasizes that this is the ancient realm that countless people dream of and revere. The divine spirit is okay. Zhang Zizai felt it. The divine spirit here is maintained at the high level of the 49 divine realms. Although it cannot be compared with the Zilong Tower, it also meets the daily cultivation needs. He will stay here for 5 years. During these 5 years, he must want to make progress. Since it is an ordinary and simple world, it will be more comfortable. At least the environment is not so dangerous. It can be felt that the stability and level of this world should be similar to that of ordinary divine realms, and it can withstand the existence of many gods and gods. In this situation, staying in the sky is very conspicuous. He feels that there are thousands of people landing together in the sky. So many people survive and fight in this cruel environment, and finally just for a chance to be the first. To be honest, this mode is indeed tense and exciting. So for now, the most important thing is to land quickly and integrate into this strange world. It is best to hide and wait and see. After all, 5 years is a long time, and there is no need to rush. This is like a game designed by the Qingyang Taigu god. He wants to meet the first wish. Everyone fights for his life and death. Nearly 30% of people will die in battle, and more people will be seriously injured. There may not be too many people who can really get good luck. Zhang Zizai didn't think so much. He fell quickly. The world under his feet was lush and green, with many forests and grasslands. It looked green and full of vitality. He happened to see that there were villages, towns, and cities on this forested land, which made him stunned for a moment, thinking, could it be that there are natives in this ancient realm? This is impossible. Isn't it said that there is only the Qingyang ancient god in the ancient realm? He was suspicious and locked onto the largest city within his field of vision. He knew that if other people were in the sky, they might lock onto the same city as him, but he didn't care. After all, people with great skills are brave and have the courage to come to this ancient realm, so they have nothing to fear. He flew down towards the city, and at first he was only concerned about the people in the city. But when he found that although the city was very clean and there were obvious signs of people living there all year round, there seemed to be no one on the streets. Now the city was still beyond the detection range of his heavenly soul, so he thought the residents might be in the house. But when his heavenly soul's vision and consciousness had covered most of the city, he suddenly found that there was no one in this clean city, not even a living creature, not even the smallest ant, let alone mosquitoes and flies. This is impossible, Zhang Zizai couldn't believe it. First of all, the city must have been built by people, which means that there must have been people here. And if there had been no one here for a long time, it would not be like this now. There must be weeds and dust everywhere. Over time, the whole city would be swallowed up by trees and forests, but now the city is intact, there is not much dust, many roofs are clean, and there are big trees next to them. There are not even many leaves on the roofs and yards. This is not logical. Wait, in the next moment, Zhang Zizai made another discovery, which made him forget all his doubts. That's not important anymore. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 1234. He said that when he looked at the city, he felt familiar. Although he had never seen the city from such a high place in the sky, when he got closer and his divine soul covered all corners of the city, he felt it is clear that every plant, tree, brick, and tile here is exactly the same as in the memory. This is clearly Daejiang King City. How is it possible? How is it possible? Zhang Zizai quickly fell down and stood in the middle of the street of the city, stepping on the bluestone, completely immersed in shock, confusion, and sluggishness. His whole body was trembling, and he reached out to touch. There are bricks and trees everywhere. This is the place he often walked many years ago. It is the place where he played when he was a child. If he can remember this wrong, he is an idiot. There is no doubt that everything here is exactly the same as Daejiang Wangcheng, or in other words, this is Daejiang Wangcheng. This is the place that he dreams about, and it is absolutely unmistakable. The only difference may be that the sky in Daejiang City is blue, with the sun during the day and stars and moon at night, instead of like now, where there are only rolling black smoke and flames, and the Daejiang City is also there would not be such a strong spiritual energy. In addition, Zhang Zizai could actually feel that everything here was much stronger than that in the great Zhangwang City. If it were not exactly the same in appearance, Zhang Zizai would be more willing to believe that this place was a certain 4-year-old city. Part of the 19th Divine Realm. In fact, if the origin continent and Daejiang King City had not disappeared, Zhang Zizai would not be so shocked. Did the vanished origin continent and Daejiang King City come here? But this is the ancient realm. So what about the people in Daejiang King City? Where is his brother Zhang Junjian? Where are his sister-in-law Dong Yangjing and nephew Zhang Yi? In addition to Daejiang King City, is this entire continent beneath our feet the continent of origin? He is in chaos now, and he knows that he can only be confused now, and there will be no answers at all. Depressed and helpless, he fell into a state of blank mind, almost unable to think. He was a little lost and walked towards the direction of Prince De Jiang's mansion. He was too familiar with this road. As long as he walked forward, he would be able to. When you walk to the Pillar of Origin, you can walk to his home. There was no one on this road except him. In a daze, he seemed to see the bustling streets of Daejiang King City, but he knew that these were all illusions. What is the connection between my parents and my brother, the disappeared Xingyang realm, and the ancient realm here? Zhang Zizai knew that there must be a connection, but someone must have kept it from him. As a result, he was still confused and led by others. He couldn't even imagine where his future path would be. He can only go with the flow now. Maybe one day he will be strong enough to truly understand its meaning. Now he can only hope that his brother and his family can live well. He returned to Prince De Jiang's mansion. After that, he visited every room. In fact, his divine soul could see everything clearly. But he still went there in person, and as he expected, no one came out to greet them. He has stayed in every place he stayed in during his childhood. In fact, he has been away from home for a long time. Sometimes when he thinks about it, it still feels wonderful. Is it true or false? It doesn't seem to be that important anymore. In the end, within a few days, he visited almost the entire Daejiang King City. In fact, since he started practicing, he has always been accompanied by people. This was the first time he was alone, and he felt inexplicably lonely. Lonely and empty. But this feeling made him know clearly what he was going to get when he came here. On this day, he was standing in Princess Ruohua's study, sitting on the desk where she usually sat, looking at the books on the bookshelf. He suddenly remembered that day, Zhang Junjian took him to see the crystal coffin under King Jiang's city. And his own body. He stood up and vaguely remembered that he had used a bronze key to turn a bronze key on the bookshelf in front of him, opening a vortex in the void. Suddenly, he saw the bronze key. This key is placed on this bookshelf. The surface is rusty and has even accumulated a lot of dust. This may be the dustiest place in the entire Daejiang city, so this bronze key is very conspicuous. Of course, if it is, other people don't care at all about a key made of ordinary material. What happens? Zhang Zizai picked up the key and blew it gently, sweeping away the dust. He almost didn't hesitate at all. He took out the key and followed Zhang Junjian's example, inserting the bronze key into the void and pretending to twist it. In fact, he was just curious and didn't have much hope. He just had no hope. Unexpectedly, when he turned the key, he already had that feeling of heart palpitations. Bronze keys have appeared. How is it possible to say that this ancient realm has nothing to do with the continent of origin? After the key was turned, the bookshelf in front of him began to change, and a black vortex appeared in front of Zhang Zizai again. Of course, Zhang Zizai didn't want to miss such a magical thing. He walked directly in and came to this wonderful world again. In front of him was a world of nothingness, with an endless abyss beneath his feet, and then 9,999 bluestone slabs were suspended in the air, leading to the platform with the crystal coffin and Zhang Junjian's body. Zhang Zizai stepped directly onto the bluestone and headed towards the depths. That corpse is exactly the same as my brother and the Dragon God King. Especially the Dragon God King and my brother, they even have the same name. I don't believe they have no relationship. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. and the key may be the corpse under the city of King Zhang. These strange things made Zhang Zizai have a strong desire to explore. To be honest, he really wanted to figure out what was going on. After walking through 9,990 bluestone slabs and crossing over the endless abyss, he finally saw the platform and the crystal coffin. The crystal coffin was still here. Zhang Zizai rushed directly to the platform without saying a word, but at this time he suddenly saw that the crystal coffin had been opened, the coffin door was directly broken, and the crystal fragments were at his feet. The corpse that looked like Zhang Zizai has disappeared. Sure enough, it is gone. Zhang Zizai even wondered if the disappearance of the Qingyang realm origin continent was related to this corpse. He squinted his eyes, still puzzled and shocked in his heart. But at this moment, he suddenly saw that there was something in the crystal coffin. It was a palm-sized jade bottle, quietly placed here. Zhang Zizai walked forward, picked up the jade bottle and shook it. There should be some kind of liquid inside. PS1, a large-scale chicken game has begun. A new volume decisive battle in the ancient realm is open. What is the truth of those puzzling things? Let us wait and see. PS2, today I spent a lot of effort on the outline of the whole volume. I want this volume to be very good, so I spent a lot of time and energy. It's already 11 o'clock when I write here. Today, I will update twice for the time being. Thank you for your understanding. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 1235. Since I came to the ancient world, the whole world is full of weirdness. The bronze key appeared, and the secret under the great Zhongqing city is still the same as before. The crystal coffin still exists, but the body has disappeared, replaced by a jade bottle, which contains some kind of liquid. Is this still the ancient world? Zhang Zizai pinched the jade bottle in his hand and fell into a bitter smile. There are too many things that I can't figure out. There is no point in imagining things without answers. In this case, it is better not to think about it. Take what you have, make yourself stronger, and strive to get the first place in 5 years. This is the most fundamental and most important thing. Zhang Zizai has completely figured it out. So he opened the jade bottle in his hand without hesitation. At the moment of opening, a dragon-shaped mist flew out of the jade bottle, making waves of dragon chant sounds, which was particularly solemn. It was accompanied by a strong fragrance, which was really refreshing. After taking a sip, I felt refreshed all over. It seemed that all the particles in my body were beating because of it, and I had a strong desire for the liquid in the jade bottle. You mean, let me drink it? Zhang Zizai didn't know what was in it. It might be some top-notch divine medicine, or other essences between heaven and earth. He was not sure about these. The only thing he was sure of was that after smelling the smell, his body had an instinctive reaction and had a strong desire for this liquid. It was like a mortal who had been hungry for several days and saw a delicious food that could fill his stomach. Zhang Zizai didn't want to resist. His principle was that he had to be bold to enter the ancient realm, especially in this situation. This was a journey of fighting and gambling. No one thought that he could make it to the end, and he didn't have the strength yet. After all, he was almost the youngest among those who came in, so the conventional way of improvement would be very difficult, and he had to take risks. Of course, he also trusted his ability to bear. At this time, he was ready and sat cross-legged on the platform. Among the 9 giant bells of the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell, only the Chaos Wood Bell protected the body. Zhang Zizai sacrificed the Chaos Wood Bell and integrated it into his body to keep himself vigorous. After making all these preparations, he basically did not hesitate, picked up the jade bottle, and poured it into his mouth. That's right, he wanted to see what changes the liquid left in the empty coffin would have on him. He was mentally prepared, so he could basically bear the good and the bad. But just after swallowing it, Zhang Zizai regretted it. He regretted not drinking it, but not drinking it bit by bit, cyclically and gradually, so that he had time to react. This liquid seemed cool and pleasant, but it was very hot after entering the mouth. Just after entering, it was like an explosion, surging all over the body, spreading to every particle of the body in an instant, and then integrating into it. At that moment, his body was completely burned, as if every particle was burning. This suffering was similar to the experience when he survived the divine calamity. The 9 extreme heavenly god tribulation at that time also made Zhang Zizai live and die, but the good thing was that after it ended, it completely gave Zhang Zizai a huge fortune, and directly created a divine body with the potential of a god. In fact, that day was not long away from now, and at this moment Zhang Zizai was already sprinting to the realm of the God King. This is what he suddenly thought of. He is now at the 9th level of the God Lord, and it is time to sprint to the realm of the God King. The biggest difference between the God King and the God Lord is that the flesh and blood merge with the totem god, and completely transform into a totem beast. The flesh and blood and the totem beast are already one. The human form and the totem beast belong to one person, and they are 2 states of one person. Among them, the totem beast will be more powerful, especially in terms of flesh and blood. Incarnation to fight with the totem, this is indeed a huge transformation. The King of Gods is like this. After becoming a God King, even in a small God domain, you can be a real king and dominate the world. Even after becoming a God King, there will be a formal title, such as the title of Sky Dragon God King. Generally speaking, the title is bestowed by the gods to whom it belongs, such as the Sky Dragon God King was bestowed by the Light Dragon Lord. Regarding the realm of God King, Zhang Zizai has actually thought about it a lot. His current totem god image is close to a completely solid state, close to a physical entity, and the next threshold is the complete fusion of the totem god image and the body. This is a process of thinking, and even everyone is different, so how to become a God King can only refer to other people's experience, but cannot be completely copied. Zhang Zizai wants to think about it now, but he can't think so much, because the burning and pain in his body at this moment are too exaggerated. He can clearly see that he is almost bursting, and almost every particle in his body is torn apart. Fortunately, there is still Chaos Wood Bell repairing with Redwood Vitality at this time, otherwise he may not be able to support the explosion and die. He doesn't know how long he can hold on. Fortunately, his divine soul was strong enough, so he was able to remain calm at such a moment. In fact, it was because in this tearing and destruction, the liquid was truly merging with his body bit by bit, resulting in every part of his body being continuously strengthened on the basis of the Holy Dragon celestial body after his rebirth. Zhang Zizai felt that a long time had passed, but at this time, the bottle of liquid that did not look like much had actually only been integrated into a total of 1%. He may need to hold on for 100 times longer. After realizing this, Zhang Zizai completely let go. Anyway, he would be numb in the end. He might as well shift his attention to other places, such as observing his natal totem with the heavenly soul. When his spiritual will was in the totem sea, Zhang Zizai looked at the chaos-swallowing sky dragon in front of him. Is this actually his self? But that piece of black petals must not be his self. In fact, he can also transform into a totem beast now, but this is not lasting, it is short-lived, and the totem god image and the body are not really integrated together. The cultivation path of the God King is a matter for the future. The key now is, what kind of fusion is the real fusion? He returned to his body again. In this torment, he summoned the totem god image. The huge chaos-swallowing sky dragon in front of him was almost a physical entity. Zhang Zizai stared at it face to face. The totem god image was familiar and strange. For a while, Zhang Zizai was so fascinated that he even forgot his current torment. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1236. Time passed unknowingly and inexplicably during this gaze. In a trance, Zhang Zizai didn't know how long it had been, but he didn't feel uncomfortable anymore. He could clearly feel that his holy dragon celestial body was growing at a terrifying speed, and its strength was constantly doubling. The lightning, fire, and ice hurricanes wrapped around his body were even more violent and violent. Now it might be the strongest holy dragon celestial body in history. Perhaps the god of war himself didn't expect that the holy dragon celestial body could be so strong. Zhang Zizai's current human form might be similar to some people's totem beasts, and even the god beast king. His attention was not here, but on the totem god in front of him. As he looked at it, maybe a long time had passed. He suddenly felt like he was looking in the mirror. Every expression of his own could be reflected in the mirror. That dragon was himself. Every movement of his, the mirror made the same movement. This might be an opportunity. When Zhang Zizai walked towards himself in the mirror, the self in the mirror also came towards him. Zhang Zizai suddenly accelerated and ran directly into the mirror, and the chaos-swallowing sky dragon in the mirror also accelerated and flew over, and also crashed into the mirror. Boom! The mirror shattered. But Zhang Zizai and the totem god image completely collided at this moment. At that moment, Zhang Zizai felt the transformation of his life level. The most important thing in the realm of God King is the change of the physical body, but the change of level will also bring about the transformation of the God Source. Until this moment, Zhang Zizai suddenly discovered that under the great Zhongqing city, there was an extremely rich divine spirit, swarming towards his body. None of this is important. What is important is that at this moment, his totem god image has completely merged with his body. The moment the totem god image completely crashed into his body, his flesh and blood began to change dramatically. First, it was covered with black dragon scales, then his hands and feet changed, especially his body changed and stretched. Directly in this empty space, it changed into a black dragon. This black dragon is much larger than his totem god image. At this moment, the source of destruction is still growing, and it has finally reached the first level of the God King realm. At this moment, his body is extremely strong, and his ability to withstand the liquid has become much stronger. The remaining liquid is directly absorbed. The torment he received before has completely disappeared until now. Everything has been successful. Zhang Zizai felt the joy and power of the real dragon. He flew up and down, but unfortunately no one shared the joy at this time. In fact, the biggest transformation of all people who become God Kings comes from the God body. Zhang Zizai is the same. But when he felt it himself, he was shocked. Because of the bottle of jade liquid, his holy dragon celestial body was strengthened to an incredible degree. In addition, now that he is in the state of a totem beast, the power of his divine body is almost 10 times that of before. What does it mean to have a holy dragon celestial body 10 times stronger? It can be said that now, relying solely on the power of the divine body, he can withstand the full strength attack of ordinary divine kings. The holy dragon celestial body is compatible with the 9 dragon chaos divine bell in many parts, so Zhang Zizai can use the 9 dragon chaos divine bell with his current divine body power, and can completely join the ancient divine source power to form a double effect. I didn't expect that this bottle of jade liquid would have such a significant effect on the holy dragon heaven and earth. After ordinary people become God Kings, their physical bodies may be twice as strong in human form, and they can be doubled again in totem beast form. Even in my human form, my holy dragon heavenly body is more than 5 times stronger, and more than 10 times stronger in totem beast form. This is entirely due to the jade liquid in that bottle. Otherwise, if Zhang Zizai becomes a God King normally, he will be about the same as an ordinary person. I really don't know what this jade liquid is. It is really terrifying to have such an incredible effect. Now, the advantage of the totem beast is that the power of the divine body is more than twice that of the human form. Of course, everyone is almost the same. There may be some totems that are strong in divine body, which may be more than 3 times stronger. However, because Zhang Zizai's foundation is terrible, the power of the divine body in human form alone may be stronger than the totem beast state of many god kings, so once he changes into a totem beast, his divine body power may have almost no opponent in this ancient realm. Once in the realm of God, his holy dragon celestial body had no rivals in terms of physical body. The strongest state now is 10 times stronger than that time. It is conceivable how explosive he is now. At least Zhang Zizai himself feels that his current flesh and blood ability is unprecedented. It is an explosive feeling of having power all over his body. He can shake mountains and break seas with just a wave of his hand. It is very dangerous to let Zhang Zizai get close to him during the battle. He has just come to the ancient realm and has become so strong. This makes Zhang Zizai feel very good. This is a good start. After getting familiar with the totem beast and trying to fight in the state of the totem dragon, he returned to human form and landed in front of the crystal coffin. To sum up, it is the state of the totem beast. The power of the divine body is doubled, the recovery of the divine source is greatly increased, the lethality is stronger, and of course the consumption is slightly greater. If you want to bully the weak, there is no need to change into a totem beast. He had transformed into a divine dragon before, but he could not fight and could only practice. Therefore, he was not unfamiliar with his divine dragon body, but he had never controlled such a powerful totem dragon body. The dragon teeth, claws and tail seemed to be able to tear anything apart. His whole body was full of offensive weapons, even the seemingly useless dragon horns were attached with the power of the holy dragon body, and were entangled with white lightning. After becoming the God King, he was no longer the only god in this ancient realm. The bright dragon lord is gone, who will give me the title? If it's too unpleasant, I must refuse it, Zhang Zizai thought. He checked and found that there was nothing here. The bottle of jade liquid was the only item. In addition, there was only an empty coffin and crystal fragments all over the ground. Zhang Zizai did not plan to take it away. Let's go. He knew that there was no one here, but he still bowed and said goodbye before leaving. He has made up his mind and is no longer confused by the strangeness and weirdness here. He doesn't think about what he can't figure out. He only needs to remember to fight and become strong. This is what he should do. So he plans to leave Daejiang King City. If this is the origin continent, then Daejiang King City is a remote place. The Tianlong Holy Dynasty and the Origin Divine Sect are the core. He thinks that if everything here is really the same as the origin continent, then his familiarity with geography may have some advantages. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1237. After walking through the more than 9,000 steps and returning to the study, the entire Daejiang King City was still empty. Everywhere was clean, but there were still no flies at all. It was silent everywhere, a kind of dead and empty city. Goodbye. Purple fire sky wings appeared behind Zhang Zizai. He was flying in the air with purple fire sky wings. He was traveling much faster. As long as he was near the ground, he was actually not afraid of meeting strong opponents because he was the only one with as a person with a divine soul, his senses are sharper than anyone else. Basically, he already knows the location of his opponent when no one else notices him. This is also his huge advantage within the ancient realm, and he can fully exploit his strengths and avoid his weaknesses. After leaving Daejiang King City, he did not rush to the core area in the west, but went all the way north to the direction of Yanlong Ruins, because he wanted to see if Yanlong Ruins existed. If Yanlong Ruins were all there, that really shows that at least the entire Yanlong dynasty exists, and it is even basically certain that everything here is the same as the continent of origin. The most critical question now is, what exactly does Qingyang ancient god ask us to come in for? There are no rules at all, no goals at all, and no tests. We have no idea what to do, let alone what counts as the 49 sacrifice. The first. Zhang Zizai believes that this problem bothers others. Qingyang ancient god didn't tell them what they wanted to rob, or what goal to achieve, or how many people to defeat, so far, people probably don't know how to go down here, and everyone is probably just guessing. It should take some thinking. The prerequisite for thinking is to wander around and even exchange experiences with more people. For example, Zhang Zizai would be much safer if he could meet the heavenly dragon god king. If that doesn't work, you can still meet the god kings of the supreme dragon clan. But Zhang Zizai discovered that the entire Yanlong dynasty might be empty. After all, there are only a few thousand people in total. The Yanlong dynasty itself is small, and it is only normal for itself. His purple fire wings drew a purple track in the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Zhang Zizai's heavenly soul had already covered a huge city in front of him, and Yanlong ruins indeed appeared. In fact, he had already discovered along the way that the road he was taking was the first time he went to Yanlong. The roads in Longxiu were exactly the same on the left and right, and even the woods where he was assassinated by the men sent by the prince were exactly the same. The appearance of Yanlong ruins cannot be said to be unexpected. What surprised Zhang Zizai was that there were living beings in Yanlong ruins. Not many, just one person. If Zhang Zizai's guess is correct, he should not live in Yanlong ruins, but a god king who came to the ancient realm like himself. From too far away, Zhang Zizai could only detect that this was a god king, and the other party seemed to be hidden. It was difficult to figure out his identity and appearance, but he could probably feel that the other party's strength should be at a level that could not kill him. So Zhang Zizai decided to go over and have a look, maybe they could learn something through some exchanges. After all, this was the first person he met in the ancient realm. This person's location is within the central imperial city of Yanlong ruins. Coincidentally, his hiding place is in Longjian's Lingyanzai. The closer Zhang Zizai got, the clearer everything about this person became. Now he could even see his general appearance. He was a middle-aged man with long hair, pale skin, and dark red eyes. He should be an ancient demon cultivator. It seems that the evil spirit is relatively strong. He is hiding in a corner, using a simple totem array to hide himself, not knowing what he is doing. Soon Zhang Zizai knew that the entire imperial city seemed to be shrouded in a totem array. This totem array was very hidden and in a hidden state. Are you hunting? Waiting for the rabbit, Zhang Zizai was outside the gate of the imperial city at this time. What the other party was doing, he only needed to walk into the imperial city to know. The moment he stepped in, the world suddenly changed dramatically, from a relatively bright day to a gloomy and ghostly night. Everything was pitch black and you couldn't see your fingers. The whole world is dead silent. This is exactly the power of the totem array. The only dazzling thing was the strange red light coming from the sky. When Zhang Zizai raised his head, he suddenly saw a huge blood-red eye in the sky. The eye occupied less than half of the sky and shrouded Zhang Zizai's head in a forest. Looking at him coldly and ghostly, he launched an attack on Zhang Zizai at the first moment. This is a power that attacks the soul, seduces the soul, and can instantly plunge people into hallucinations and fear. However, Zhang Zizai has a divine soul and is very resistant to such things. In fact, he discovered that this is a totem weapon, which should be at the level of a god king. It is somewhat similar to the Ghost Dance Demon Sword. It comes with its own totem array. When Zhang Zizai broke in, it was similar to the way his opponent broke into his 100 Ghost Night March array, except that it was red. The lethality of lustful eyes is much greater. If there is no divine soul, the life and death of any divine king who enters this trap may be threatened. Friend, we just met. You are the first person I have met in the ancient realm. There is no need to use this kind of greeting gift. Why not come out and talk? Zhang Zizai could not bear the blood-colored eyes. The hallucinations and suppression, just like the normal person, directly locked onto that person's hiding place. Huh, the other party made a very confused sound. Since he had been discovered, he did not hide anymore, but appeared directly in front of Zhang Zizai. When he looked closer, he realized that this man was very tall and burly, with a similar build. Lu Dingxing is almost the same, looking like a giant beast standing in a human body. Can you even withstand my soul-eating ghost eye abyss formation? Your realm seems to be at least level 1 or 2 of a god king. This is impossible. The other party squinted his eyes, and the soul-eating ghost eyes in the sky are very similar. Your guess is correct, I just became the God King 2 days ago, Zhang Zizai said with a smile. Stop bragging. It seems you have a way to hide your realm. He was probably a little afraid of Zhang Zizai, so he didn't make any further plans and said, okay, you are not my prey. Let's go. Don't delay my efforts. I'm a little curious, what is your prey? Zhang Zizai asked. People who will be controlled by my ghost eye abyss formation. After taking control, what do you want to do? Zhang Zizai asked. Are you sure you want to care so much? My temper is also very limited, the other party said. You don't need to be so serious. We are all friends when we come in, so we can just chat. Aren't you completely confused about the test of this ancient realm? Anyway, I don't know what I should do, and I just wanted to ask you. Zhang Zizai said. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1238. Friend, the other party laughed dryly and was non-committal. Then he looked at Zhang Zizai and said, what is your name? I know most of the top god kings in the 49 divine realms. Why haven't I heard of you? Before asking others for their names, shouldn't you introduce yourself first? Zhang Zizai asked. The other party sneered and said, I won't change my name when I go, I don't change my surname when I sit down. I am, Mu Yuan. Hundong Demon Clan. What about you? Zhang Zizai's guess was good. He happened to see the Hundong Demon Clan a few days ago. He probably looked similar to this person. Sure enough, he was one of them at that time. Then I won't hide it. I, Zhang Zizai, come from the dragon sacrifice god realm and the supreme dragon clan, Zhang Zizai said with a smile. When he heard this sentence, he was stunned and asked, boy, you didn't hear what our Hundong demon emperor said to the divine dragon emperor outside the ancient realm, did you? That's what I heard, Zhang Zizai said. Then you don't know that we and you are like fire and water? Under such a premise, you still come to provoke me? Are you looking down on me? After hearing his name and identity, the other party's voice became completely cold. That's not true. I don't really care about this kind of thing. I really want to make friends with you and exchange our views on this ancient realm. To be honest, do you know what we have to do to become the number one? Zhang Zizai asked. I changed my mind, Mu Yuan said coldly. Want to chat? Zhang Zizai asked. No, I'm going to send you to the west. Don't you want to know how to become the number one in the 49 festivals? I'm thinking, maybe no one has died yet. If I get your first drop of blood, maybe I will seize it. It's a chance to become number one, he said calmly. I understand, you set up a trap here to kill people, Zhang Zizai asked. You guessed it right. I originally thought you were weird and didn't dare to do anything to you. Unfortunately, as a Supreme Dragon Clan, you came to provoke me repeatedly. If you are just looking for death, I won't be polite, he said with a ferocious smile. Am I provoking you? Zhang Zizhe laughed dumbly. He was speaking to him sincerely, but the less he cared about the conflict between the two parties, the more he felt it was a provocation. Your words are even more provocative. When Mu Feng said this, he had already taken action. Sure enough, in this ancient realm where no one can see, everything is different. Here, even killing and life and death, maybe no reason is needed. Especially after two people with a feud meet. There was darkness everywhere here, and the blood-colored eyes in the sky, the soul-eating ghost eyes, erupted with terrifying red light, shrouding Zhang Zizhe's body. It was probably turned on to the strongest level, and then Mu Feng also had more in his hands. A God King level totem weapon, it was a sharp and huge battle axe. He held it directly with both hands. An extremely sinister aura erupted from the battle axe. Under the infusion of its power, its lethality was astonishing. Call. The opponent suddenly came to attack, and the sky-splitting ghost axe struck down on the head, directly tearing Zhang Zizhe apart. His attack was one part, and the soul impact of the soul-eating ghost eyes in the sky was another part. This person is actually very strong, and he is probably at the highest level. The fourth level of the God King is even more terrifying than that Yin Zijun's combat power. But now Zhang Zizhe has nothing to fear. The Emperor Demon Sword will suddenly appeared in his hand, and the 12 swords gathered into one heavy sword. He also danced with both hands. When the opponent slashed down, Zhang Zizhe held the heavy sword and swept it from bottom to top. This time it was the five-fold increase in the celestial power of the Holy Dragon plus the ancient divine source power. Even though he was at a disadvantage in the ancient divine source power, the explosion at this moment still hit the sky-splitting ghost axe. The two collided together, directly killing him. The opponent is sent flying. If you want to fight, be more serious and let me see your true totem. Otherwise, even with this little ability, you can't squeeze the gap between my teeth, Zhang Zizhe said with a smile. Are you serious? Mu Yuan was already irritated. But in fact, the first trial confrontation had already surprised him. First, the soul-eating ghost eye was completely ineffective, which was beyond his expectation. He couldn't even think about it. Then, his own attack was actually repelled by him. He clearly felt that during that process, although the ancient divine source power used by the opponent was rough, the amount was not large. What was terrifying seemed to be its physical strength. He flicked the sword casually, but it was like a giant beast flicking its tail, making him clearly feel the terrifying impact. This made him know that he had to exert all his strength to get this first drop of blood. At least the seniors in the clan told him that this might be important. He put a lot of thought into setting up traps here and waiting for people to take the bait. Now that the precious prey is in front of him, and it is also the symbolic Supreme Dragon Clan, he knows that he must use all his strength in this battle. Ever since, he directly transformed into a totem beast right in front of Zhang Zizhe. Damantian Giant Bull Demon Totem. This Mu Yuan directly transformed into a big bull demon god. He began to transform from a human form, and his body became extremely thick, transforming into a giant bull with a human body. The bull's head and body were extremely thick, full of powerful visual impact, with the curved horns, thick nostrils, and blood-red eyes. All so real and so rough. In fact, his totem is not a pure cow totem. If it were a cow totem, you would be a cow on all fours, not half human and half cow like you are now. The real essence of his totem is the demon god, which is the same as like the dragon, it is its true essence, and the cow is just a part of it. This is the characteristic of the Han Cave Demon Clan. In fact, the bull demon god totem is definitely much stronger than the ordinary bull totem. Now Mu Feng, who has transformed into a totem beast, is already the great barbarian sky bull demon god. With his transformation, even the sky-splitting ghost axe in his hand is getting bigger. It is like a prehistoric beast, rough and ferocious. Zhang Zizai in front of him looks so small. Zhang Zizai looked at the exaggerated muscle lines, the rough and thick cowhide, and the hard dragon horns, which really made his scalp numb. This is definitely a totem beast with a very obvious advantage in physical strength. It happened that this was the opponent that Zhang Zizai longed for. So, he was also excited. The first time he used the totem beast to fight was interesting in itself. So he changed into a black dragon in front of his opponent, flying in the air. The momentum of the chaos-swallowing sky dragon was still able to fight against the opponent. What's even more terrifying is Zhang Zizai's 9-dragon Chaos Soul Bell, which appeared one by one at this time. To be honest, the Chaos Soul Bell can not only attack, but also block the attack of the soul, so in front of the Chaos Soul Bell, the soul-devouring ghost eye is simply a small witch compared to a big witch. Facing Zhang Zizai, the only advantage of this great barbarian sky giant bull demon god is his 4th level of the God King level ancient god source power. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1239. This was the first time Zhang Zizai saw an opponent who was also a totem beast from the perspective of a totem beast. The rough and violent great bull demon god didn't recognize Zhang Zizai's 9 dragons chaos divine bell, and couldn't even tell that it was a rare heavenly artifact. Now, in its eyes, there is only violence and irritability, which are the characteristics of its totem itself. The more violent and irritable it is, the more terrifying its lethality is. Under such a premise, Mu Yuan from the Hundong demon clan took the initiative to attack. When he stepped forward to attack, all the imperial city buildings under his feet were trampled into powder. The entire imperial city was shattered in an instant. It would be easy for such a giant beast to destroy the imperial city of Yanlongxiu. His target was Zhang Zizai. At this time, he was still holding the huge sky-splitting ghost axe, and at the same time, the soul-eating ghost eyes in the sky were still functioning. Facing such a violent great bull demon god, Zhang Zizai was very calm and composed. He had long been familiar with the current dragon teeth, claws and tail. All attacks were instinctive of the body and did not require too much training at all. Facing this opponent at the 4th level of the God King realm, even if he made huge progress, he did not dare to overestimate his progress. The 9 dragons Chaos Divine Bell must be used when it is necessary. For example, the Chaos Earth Bell's Black Earth Realm. After the Chaos Earth Bell is integrated into the land of Yanlong ruins, the gravity suddenly increases, and Mu Yuan is not needed for a while. Trampled, all the buildings within the entire battle range collapsed on their own and were all shattered. This was torn apart by the Chaos Earth Bell. As Zhang Zizai's target, the giant bull demon god was the first to bear the brunt. But at this time, the Chaos Wind Bell and Chaos Ice Bell were also controlling him at the same time. The world suddenly became extremely cold, and countless ice and snow blew out from the Chaos Ice Bell above the opponent's head, even under the Chaos Wind Bell's soul-breaking storm. Under the encouragement, the wind and snow roared. Even though the giant bull demon god had rough skin and thick flesh, he was still severely restricted in the bone-breaking cold and the soul-ripping storm. His flesh and blood were strong enough to tear apart. The suppression and control of the Kowloon Chaos Divine Bell still brutally attacked and killed Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai has nothing to fear at all. Even if he transforms into a dragon, the purple flame wings are still there, and they are even bigger, allowing him to fight more flexibly in the air. At the same time, with the Chaos Thunder Bell, the speed of the Chaos Lightning still makes him faster and more powerful than his opponent, and protected by the thousands of green waves of the Chaos Water Clock and the Platinum Bell of the Chaos Golden Clock at all times, making his Holy Dragon celestial body 10 times stronger and stronger. Moreover, the opponent should find that he will be weakened, because Zhang Zizai's forbidden dragon divine aspect is still functioning. Even if his totem divine aspect is integrated into the divine body, it cannot escape the suppression of the forbidden dragon divine aspect. Therefore, in fact, at this time, under Zhang Zizai's repeated control, Mu Yuan was already very aggrieved. What was even more frustrating was that Zhang Zizai came directly towards him, and as a divine dragon, he actually wanted to fight him at close range. This made him overjoyed. He had previously fought against a divine king with a big snake as its totem, and the opponent turned into a totem giant. The beast, let him tear it into two pieces with both hands. Roar! The demon god roared into the sky, and the two collided instantly. The giant bull demon god's sky-splitting ghost axe struck down on his head. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zizai was so flexible. He disappeared in front of his eyes with the flash of lightning, and then appeared in front of him. He felt a threat behind him, and when he turned around, a huge dragon's tail was pulled out. He resisted with his arm. When the dragon's tail collided with his arm, there was a loud bang, and then blood splattered everywhere. The great bull demon god flew backwards, and you could see the bloody flesh on his arms. On the other hand, Zhang Zizai, even though there were many spikes on the flesh and blood of the opponent's arms, he was still unscathed because of the 9 dragons Chaos God. Protect your body. Come again. Zhang Zizai's voice began to become a nightmare for his opponents. He relied on the power of his current divine body and divine source, and relied on the protection and control of the 9 dragons Chaos Divine Bell to fight his opponents in close combat. In a short period of time, they almost crushed the entire Yanlong ruins to pieces. Mu Yuan had never seen such a powerful opponent in the divine body. His strongest side was completely suppressed by Zhang Zizai. Coupled with the suppression in other aspects, no matter how powerful his ancient divine power was, surpassing Zhang Zizai, at this time, I can only be beaten down. Especially his soul-eating ghost eyes are completely ineffective. Under such a premise, the dragon was elusive and flexible, but he was as bulky as a pig. He had no time to react and was completely led by the nose. Not long after, he was covered in bruises. But in this state, what he felt was not fear, but shame and anger. Court death. Your sacrifice to the dragon god realm is over. You dare to challenge me? He kept shouting, but Zhang Zizai ignored him at all, calmly suppressing and attacking, using the 2 totem abilities one after another. The restrictions of the time and space cage and the control of chaos swallowing sky made it even more difficult for the opponent to move. The Emperor's demonic sword will transformed into a sword dance state, constantly flying under control, and constantly cutting a knife behind the opponent when he was not paying attention. This also made Mu Yuan very uncomfortable. After a battle, almost all of his body was covered with blood. No place is intact. On the other hand, Zhang Zizai seemed to be aloof from the incident, unscathed, and completely at ease. After all, he had too many tricks and trump cards, and his opponent couldn't hold on at all. His ancient divine source power was insufficient, but his advantage in divine body could fully make up for it. He has a very deep understanding of his current strengths and foundations. After becoming the God King, he has indeed undergone a transformation. In fact, it was not that Zhang Zizai did not stop. He simply treated his opponent as a training object to hone his skills when he just became the God King. But in fact, the opponent was unwilling to give up. Now that he was in such a disadvantageous situation, he was even more irritable and vicious than Zhang Zizai. In fact, if he was not thick-skinned, Zhang Zizai would have dealt with him long ago. You are dead. I will tear you into pieces and roast and eat them all. Seeing the opponent's eyes were bloodshot and so violent, Zhang Zizai smiled coldly. Why bother? You are so desperate. Is it difficult to admit that you are defeated? He had already abused the opponent and was too lazy to entangle with him. But every time he wanted to withdraw from the battlefield, the opponent would chase him relentlessly, thinking that he had found an opportunity to defeat Zhang Zizai, and he became more fierce and used all kinds of means to beat Zhang Zizai to death. "Do you need to?" Zhang Zizai said. "Ancient realm, do you think it's not cruel? If I say I want to kill you, I will never let you leave alive. Do you think you have seriously injured me?" "Little did I know that I was not really injured at all," Mu Yuan said bloody. "His totem does have a tendency to become stronger with each battle, perhaps this is one of his totem abilities." NBSP. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1240. Zhang Zizai had already decided to hold back, but the other party refused to give in. Moreover, he knew that such a loud battle would probably attract other people. If someone took advantage of him, it would be more than worth the loss. Since he is so ignorant, if he still refuses to give up, then Zhang Zizai won't be too lazy to be polite. He directly took out his trump card, the Chaos Soul Clock. At this time, the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell was pressing at the same time. When the Requiem began to play, Mu Yuan collapsed directly. In an instant, his soul was suppressed, and the whole person staggered around, losing his soul. The Requiem, the confusion and hypnosis directly shattered his defenses. This is the real soul attack. In comparison, his soul-eating ghost eyes are indeed child's play. Under the suppression of the Requiem, his eyes blurred, and the bloody light completely disappeared, like a cow's eyes blurring. In order to suppress his opponent at once, Zhang Zizai continued to turn into the soul-killing song and charged with thousands of troops. At the same time, he did not stop. When he returned to his human form, the Emperor Demon Sword reincarnated into his hand and turned into a heavy sword. In this moment, he directly used the 6 paths of killing sword formation, and all 6 consecutive swords were killed on the opponent. The opponent did not resist at all, and was completely enveloped by Zhang Zizai's 6 paths of killing sword formation. This time the sword completely penetrated the opponent's body. Entering the flesh and blood, the opponent's divine body and soul were severely damaged, making it difficult to maintain the state of the totem beast. He returned to his human form, howling in pain and dripping with blood. Only then did Zhang Zizai stop, put away the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell, and stood in front of Mu Yuan. Mu Yuan was already kneeling on the ground, dying. His face was pale, his eyes were broken, even the soul-eating ghost eyes in the sky, they all fell down and landed on the ground. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Are you at peace now? It would be great if you knew yourself earlier. Zhang Zizai also has a temper. For such a stubborn person who is not afraid of death, he didn't want to do this, but this was forced by the other party. When he knew that he was the Supreme Dragon Clan, he became murderous and couldn't hold it back. Mu Yuan said nothing, his head lowered, blood dripping all over his body. Zhang Zizai was too lazy to talk to him. He had gained something from this battle. In the future, he should be able to master his new mode of fighting. There is no shortage of opponents in this ancient realm, which is a good thing. He turned around and left, heading for the next journey. He originally wanted to communicate with this guy about his views on this ancient realm, but it turned out that the other person offered him a toast instead of a penalty drink. Just when Zhang Zizai turned to leave, danger appeared. Mu Yuan suddenly rushed up, holding the sky-splitting ghost axe, and instantly appeared behind Zhang Zizai. He still wanted to take action and kill people, and this time it was a sneak attack. Go to hell. Zhang Zizai was really angry this time. Everyone's patience has its limit. When the other party was still so ignorant at this time, his temper also rose. He also knew that this was the ancient realm. What was he doing here? As long as no one knows about it, there is no need to take responsibility. When the opponent's sky-splitting ghost axe was about to split Zhang Zizai in half, Zhang Zizai rang the Chaos Soul Bell invisibly. Buzz. There was a shock, and it came suddenly. This powerful explosion made the opponent scream instantly, and he couldn't hold the sky-splitting ghost axe. Zhang Zizai suddenly turned around, and the Emperor Demon Sword wheel carrying the infinite time-breaking blade suddenly erupted at this time. This was exactly when the opponent is severely injured and has no defense at all. When the other party wanted to kill him countless times, Zhang Zizai did not have much patience and compassion. He had not killed for a long time. In fact, he had not killed many people in his life. But this time, the heavy sword of his Emperor Demon Sword Will the State directly penetrated the opponent's divine source. Once the divine source was broken, the power exploded, and the divine body completely collapsed. Zhang Zizai could see that Mu Yuan was screaming, the divine body was completely broken, and he died tragically in an instant. His soul turned into disgust and drifted away. He could choose to be reincarnated, or he could choose to leave a legacy in this ancient realm. He only had a short time to choose, otherwise the soul would disappear soon. Zhang Zizai wouldn't care anyway. His killing this time was just to make the other party pay for his stupidity. Zhang Zizai had already done everything he could to be benevolent and righteous. After killing Mu Yuan, his mood did not change. This was the beginning of the immemorial realm. This place itself was a cruel place. He had already realized this and needed to pay more attention in the future, because his strength was not at all in this ancient realm. He is not considered a strong person. There are people stronger than him in the majority. Although Mu Yuan's soul is not dead, Zhang Zizai is not afraid. His soul disappeared quickly. He must have chosen to be reincarnated. After all, leaving the inheritance of the God King in this ancient realm has no value at all. As for how difficult it is to be reincarnated, Zhang Zizai knows very well. He tidied up, looked at the devastated Yanlong ruins, shook his head and smiled bitterly, and prepared to continue on the road. This time he planned to go west. The core of the origin continent is the Sky Island and the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Among them, the Sky Island is flying around. I don't know where it is now, so let's go to the Tianlong Holy Dynasty first. You can also go to Fuhe. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly found a broken red pillar in front of him. Suddenly, a strange phenomenon occurred. A line of golden text appeared on the pillar. This was a very ancient text, with dragons and phoenixes dancing, very domineering. Zhang Zizai could vaguely read it. After understanding it, he was a little confused. I saw the text flashing above: first kill, sacrifice Zhang Zizai of the Dragon God realm. Reward the heavenly talisman 2 realms talisman, and the rest can get the 2 realm talisman by killing them. If only I could see this golden text, it would be fine, but there is a notice about the others here. From this point of view, it is very likely that this line of words will appear around everyone at this time. The meaning is very clear, because Zhang Zizai caused the first death in this ancient realm. He was rewarded by Qingyang Ancient God, and the reward is a 2-world talisman called Heavenly God Talisman. The scary thing is that Qingyang Ancient God personally said that if you kill Zhang Zizai, you can get his Heavenly God Talisman. This will lead to Zhang Zizai being besieged as soon as he is discovered. This is the killing allowed by Qingyang Ancient God. It can be said to be a reward for Zhang Zizai, but it can also be understood as a punishment for him. The so-called 2-world talisman has not appeared yet. Zhang Zizai stood there in a daze. He knew that his next situation would be more dangerous. He didn't expect that killing Mu Yuan today would be the first drop of blood in this ancient realm. It seems that after this, the whole situation has become tense. Killing people is rewarded. Is Qingyang Taigu God rewarding killing and encouraging killing? Then more people will probably die. Getting the first place in the 49th sacrifice will not be related to how many people are killed. Zhang Zizai shook his head. There has never been such a bloody rule in history, so he thought it should not happen. NBSP, NBSP. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1241. He didn't expect that this Xingyang ancient god would actually participate in this way, directly prompting with text. He felt that he was the only real god here, controlling everything. Everyone's performance was under his eyes. He was like playing a game, which was scary and terrifying. What is the Two Realms Talisman? Zhang Zizai's knowledge was not high, he only knew that it was a heavenly god talisman. At this time, Zhang Zizai had seen something falling from the sky, flashing away, and suddenly two talismans appeared in front of him, one black and one white, pure black and pure white, completely blank, with nothing on them, more like two small pieces of paper. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. The power of space. Zhang Zizai had the evolution source of time and space, he could clearly feel the spatial fluctuations on the two talismans. In fact, these should not be two talismans, but two parts of a talisman, which are collectively called the Two Realms Talisman. What are the effects? As he left here, he studied the two world symbols. 49 sacrifices had 5 years, so he was not in a hurry. Finally, after several attempts, he finally found a way to use them. These two world symbols are divided into black symbols and white symbols. Dropping blood can recognize the master. The black symbol can escape into the darkness and can be controlled to move silently and wander around. It can move freely within 10 miles of Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai happened to have a heavenly soul and could control every plant and tree within a 10-mile range, so it was very convenient for him to control the black symbol to move around. This black symbol basically does not need to be kept by his side, just let it wander around. As for the white symbol, it must be kept by his side at all times. How to use the two world symbols? It is actually very mysterious. The white symbol is actually a hole. When Zhang Zizai's finger presses on the white symbol, he can directly pass through the white symbol and his palm enters another space. The next moment, his palm will pass through the black symbol within a 10-mile range. This means that his hand can enter from the white talisman and come out from the black talisman at any position. This means that I can use the two-world talisman to steal other people's things or touch a beauty from a distance, Zhang Zizai laughed. This is really a magical thing. It seems useless, but in this ancient world, it seems to be quite useful. With the two-world talisman, he only needs to insert the white talisman into his palm to get a leaf or anything near the black talisman 8 miles away. Even if he holds a knife, he can stab into the body of the creature near the black talisman. Moreover, the black and white talismans can both become larger, and the maximum possible length can be about 10 feet, and almost anything can be dragged over. However, there is a huge taboo in the two-world talisman. Once it is touched, it will be completely ineffective. That is, a life above the ancient god cannot be directly transmitted from the two-world talisman. This is the upper limit of the totem pattern. Once this is done, the two-world talisman will be directly broken. Because object passing and palm passing are at the same level, life passing is another spatial means, and the power of the two-world talisman is enough to support it, so Zhang Zizai wants to rely on the two-world talisman to escape, which is impossible. Once he enters from the white talisman and comes out from the black talisman, the two-world talismans will be invalid. Zhang Zizai has tried it. He has been thinking about this spatial power for a long time. When he almost completely went out from the black talisman, he clearly felt that the two-world talisman was collapsing, and he was scared and hurried back to the white talisman. Isn't this actually a divine object for stealing things? Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly. He didn't expect that the first murderer would be rewarded with such a thing. And then, other people may have to hunt him down for this, but fortunately, most people don't know him. It seems that I have to change my name, and don't call myself Zhang Zizai when I see people. The people who came in before were all gods. Maybe they have heard of his reputation occasionally, but basically they have heard of him but never seen him. He put away the two-world talisman and walked towards the direction of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty in human form with the purple fire wings. After all, the totem beast was too annoying. In the ancient realm, everyone wanted to hide themselves so that no one could see them. In fact, Zhang Zizai didn't dare to be high profile now. First, he didn't understand what the rules were. Second, there were too many strong people here. Most of the god kings who came in were at the 6th level or above. Third, he was now wanted. His heavenly soul was strong enough, which was the basis for his survival. In the half-month he walked westward, he met 7 or 8 god kings, among whom only one was a young man at the 3rd level of god king. The others were unfathomable and might have practiced for thousands or tens of thousands of years. The practice of the god king realm is very difficult. Even a peerless genius may take decades to improve. In the second half of the god king, it takes thousands or even tens of thousands of years to improve a realm. It may be stuck in one realm forever and it is difficult to make any progress. Zhang Zizai doesn't have the cultivation method of the god king now, so during this period, he is actively communicating with his natal totem to see if he can get the more advanced part of the Yuanqi Shenlong Sutra, otherwise he will not make much progress. It's not that he doesn't have other methods, but he doesn't trust them. With the heavenly god soul, he can basically avoid meeting people he doesn't want to meet. It would be great if I could meet the heavenly dragon god king. Zhang Zizai shuttled through the forest, and his heavenly god soul controlled the surroundings at all times. As he was continuing on his way, the world suddenly shook, as if something was happening. He jumped onto the treetops and stood on them. He suddenly saw a huge pillar of fire falling from the sea of ancient black fire in the sky in the west, hitting the ground. At this position, Zhang Zizai could vaguely see that the pillar of fire was still inserted on a mountain peak. The black pillar of fire was like a flag, burning fiercely. It was obviously the ancient black fire that burned the soul. Although there were not many, it came from the sky after all. Normally, people would not dare to approach it. But in this ancient realm, the strange phenomenon from the sky is obviously an instruction. Anyone who sees it will go there to take a look. Once more people gather, exciting things will definitely happen. Maybe the opportunity is here. Zhang Zizai looked at the pillar of fire and it was still burning, like a guiding light attracting people nearby, so he also went there, but he was not in a hurry. It was better to move forward in hiding, which was safer. Is there something in this pillar of fire? Zhang Zizai only saw the burning pillar of fire. After all, it was completely dark, so it was difficult to see clearly from a distance. But he knew that in order for the flame to maintain the shape of a pillar, there should be something inside, such as a flammable stick or something. As he was heading there, he found that there were indeed many god kings heading there. 2 or 3 of them were directly within the range of his heavenly soul. Zhang Zizai kept a distance from them and approached them together. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1242. On the way, I heard a lot of noise over there. There should be a battle. If there is a battle, it means there is a fight. That probably means that the pillar of fire falling from the sky may be a good thing. I heard that this ancient realm there are many creations that appear in special ways, and this is obviously one of them. Finally Zhang Zizai got closer, less than 10 miles away, and his heavenly soul had already covered the pillar of fire, covering dozens of people present at the same time. After all, there is so much movement here, it is very normal for dozens of people to gather. However, among the dozens of people, the largest team was only a group of 2, and the others were all alone. Among them, Zhang Zizai also saw a god king from the demonic dragon celestial clan, but because he was unfamiliar with it, Zhang Zizai could not help but they were about to go up to say hello, and the situation was very tense now. They had all surrounded the pillar of fire, wary and hostile to each other. There had been a battle just now, and it had stopped for a while, but it was estimated that there would be a new battle soon. What is this? Zhang Zizai finally saw clearly. There seemed to be a black stick in the pillar of fire. The stick is also black, so it is difficult to see that the ancient black fire of the fire pillar is wrapped around the stick and burned. In other words, this ancient black fire seems to be the flame burning out of the stick. This is a divine weapon, Zhang Zizai suddenly heard someone say. Of course it is a divine weapon. How can ordinary God King level totem weapons have such a huge momentum? What kind of divine weapon is it? Who knows, but these ancient black fires are obviously permanently attached to them. If the ancient black fires do not affect you, then it will be a disaster for the enemy. It is a very terrible divine weapon for divine soul attacks. This is the primordial black fire divine pillar. It is the divine weapon born in the ancient black fire. It has appeared before, and someone has obtained it. Later, that person became a god, but unfortunately he died in the battle. It is said that the ancient black fire, the divine pillar, has returned to the ancient realm. In fact, there are many people who know that this is the ancient black fire god pillar, but they are of high level and are unwilling to say it to make more people jealous. The people who say it are not high level and are not famous. They are just those who are barely qualified to participate. Kind of, he doesn't think it's a big deal. The ancient black fire itself can burn the soul. It is basically difficult to fight against the gods. Once such a divine weapon is controlled by a strong person, no one can stop it. The endless burning ancient black fire alone is enough. Terrible. The ancient black fire is the barrier and symbol of the ancient realm. This divine pillar was born here. Now it falls on the ground. With the power of the divine weapon, it can completely set off a terrible bloody storm. Zhang Zizai did not approach, but his heavenly soul had basically grasped everyone's emotions very clearly. Now many people were jealous. They looked at the ancient black fire pillar longingly, but they did not dare to act rashly. In fact, many people come to the immemorial realm not just for the first place in the 49 sacrifice, because it is basically impossible to be first. The various creations of this immemorial realm, such as the two realms talisman and the ancient black fire god pillar, are the only ones who come to the immemorial realm. It is their true goal, and once obtained, it will immediately change their lives. The arrival of the ancient black fire divine pillar should only be visible to people in a small area. Basically, they all gathered here. There were almost no people approaching next. Zhang Zizi observed that most of these people were the God King. The 5th level, the 6th level and the 7th level, this is his estimate, and it may not be accurate, but he knows who is the strongest here. That person did not show up, no one found him, but Zhang Zizai saw him existence. He is hiding, probably waiting for the best opportunity to appear, and just take away the artifact. No more nonsense, everyone can take it according to their own abilities. To be honest, with the ancient black fire burning so far away, not everyone can control this divine weapon. Most of the people present may not be able to control it even if they grab it. Can take it away. How will you know if you don't try? Who gives you a chance to try? Who comes first? Don't be naive, just grab it. Whether it can be sacrificed and refined is one thing, but taking it first is another matter. I don't believe in taking it away. I haven't had the chance to successfully refine it. They are already in a desperate situation. It is obvious that no one can even think of occupying it alone. Now is the most tense time. No one dares to make the first move, but no one will give up. If this continues, they will obviously persist for a long time. Zhang Zizai had already moved the black talisman of the two realms talisman in that direction, but for now, he did not dare to act rashly. After all, there was still a hidden strong man who had not taken action. He might be able to overwhelm the strength of the heroes. If he showed up, he would probably be targeted. Zhang Zizai's chance should still be behind him. In such a situation, he has the overall view brought by the God Soul, and has the means of Two Realms Talisman, which itself seizes a lot of opportunities, so he is not impatient and waits attentively. While waiting, Black the Talisman had quietly penetrated the ground, spinning all the way, tearing apart the soil and reaching just below the ancient Black Fire God Pillar, and then upwards. Because this ancient Black Fire Pillar has the power to burn the soul, the flames look very fierce, but in fact it has no impression of the ground at all. Although the grass around the pillar is bathed in black flames, it still grows smoothly, full of vitality. As Zhang Zizai expected, they would not be able to remain in a stalemate here for a long time, because they all saw their own opportunities. With so many people at present, they had some confidence, but if someone stronger came, they would lose more than they gain. The most obvious routine is to secretly join forces and eliminate the recognized strongest existence first. Now is the time to kill the bold ones, but when several people form an alliance, it is time for them to take action. Zhang Zizai saw that the hidden strong man was not in a hurry at all. He obviously wanted to wait until the group of people were almost done fighting before coming out and directly reaping the benefits. Zhang Zizai was also ready. This was not a fight between the snipe and the clam, but a mantis catching the cicada, and the oriole was behind. Finally, the battle broke out, and the dozens of people were directly involved. No one wanted to stay out of it. When someone fought, someone rushed to the ancient Black Fire Pillar. Once someone approached, all the original plans were directly involved in a big melee. Zhang Zizai looked at it and saw that all the totem beasts in front of him had turned into giant beasts. This chaotic battle was simply a battle between a group of beasts. The tense moment finally came. Zhang Zizai himself really wanted to get the ancient Black Fire Pillar, because his divine soul was powerful. The terrifying Chaos Soul Bell made him realize his advantage in this area. If he could get this divine weapon, he would be even more terrifying.